So I got asked a question. The question was, how can eliminating government jobs be good for the economy? Essentially, isn't that just a job that's lost? Presumably, the idea is that if some of the Doge ideas get their way in the next year, that we could see some reduction in government jobs. So, why is this actually a good thing? Well, let's look at non-government jobs to start with. So if you look at somebody that's like a factory worker, they create something or they assemble something. They are hard goods that people want. In some cases, in your more modern economy, you have people who manufacture code or other things along those lines, soft goods. But again, still something people want. Then we have people like tradesmen, carpenters, electricians, plumbers, auto mechanics. They fix things that we really can't function without in a modern society. And they also work on projects that can improve your home's value and your quality of life. And then there's service jobs like restaurants, Uber Eats, uh, stores, clerks, etc. This all lends to quality of life. Without these people doing these things, our life would not be as good as it is. So they make things better for us. They make us feel better. They give us a little bit more time to do things on our own. And then there's support jobs. These are essentially the admin, communications, and IT that are in the background of all these other businesses that keep them running. So although they don't directly produce goods and services, they make they facilitate that goods and services can actually be created, also probably adding to the efficiency of that creation. So, what about government jobs? Now, I'm not saying all government jobs fall under the auspices, but a lot of them do. I would say at least 20%, and probably much more than that. But if we follow a general Pareto curve, we can say at least probably 20% are probably something we could get along without and not necessarily notice. So I'm going to put put it in terms of the DMV. Now, I know this is going to get me into a little trouble because some people cannot fathom the idea of how would you do things without a DMV, but hopefully you can kind of wrap your head around it as a example, not a I want to get rid of the DMV. Okay, I just might, but that's not necessary to this video. Okay, first, the DMV essentially functions as a subsidy for the auto insurance companies. Um, the insurance companies themselves could actually do the licensing themselves if they were so inclined. If a driver's license wasn't required by the government, you wouldn't probably bother getting one unless your job required it. The DMV could easily be replaced by a certification company that trained and certified drivers to whatever expectation the customer needed. Like, for instance, um, insurance companies might say, okay, you buy a new car, have it on a loan. Bank says, hey, you have to have that insured in order for us to give you the loan on the car. The insurance company says, hey, you have to have some kind of certification showing that you actually know how to drive this before we'll insure it. Um, that's something a certification company could do for you. Like, okay, put you through a couple of classes and give you your certification, making the insurance company happy. And then you have, the other various grades you might need for your driving delivery trucks or something along those lines, or long haul travels, etc. The key thing is, though, in terms of this particular government service and many others, is they don't produce anything. Okay, you could say, well, they produce driver's license. Yeah, but you don't need those. You're required to have those. Uh, any service that's provided is not necessary or could easily be replicated in the private sector. Many government jobs are essentially compliance jobs. They are people who are ensuring citizens are in compliance with regulations that they probably would not voluntarily pay for to have enforced upon them. These people produce nothing. They provide services most people don't want. Now, another class of government jobs are essentially the support jobs. They're the administrative functions that are invisible to the citizenry that keeps government agencies functioning. Many of these jobs are internal compliance, meaning they are making sure the agencies are following the rules that the agencies set up for themselves. Many of these jobs are literally shuffling electronic documents from one location to another. Uh, a lot of them would not be missed if but for controlling regulations above them. So, if we eliminate a government position, and make it clear, there are certain ones that are critical, military, for example, but let's look at some of these other government jobs. When a government position is eliminated, there's no loss of production. There's no loss of desired services. If a electrician's business goes out of business, well, all of a sudden you have a shortage of people who can do electrical work in the area. You've lost production. Um, let's say a favorite store goes out of business. You've lost services in that area. Your standard of living drops because something you normally want to get at is no longer there. Same thing doesn't happen when a government position is lost. So when this government person loses their job, they're going to move on and eventually do a new job outside of government. They will now produce things and provide services, services that people actually want. So when these non-critical positions are eliminated, the wages, the infrastructure that supports them, like the offices they go to and all that stuff that goes along with it, uh, the logistics required to support that job, all turns into money that can either be used to reduce the deficit, pay down the debt, or go back into the taxpayer's pocket as a tax break. When these people leave the government and are employed elsewhere, they will produce and provide services, which will improve everybody's standard of living. Get more stuff, we get more things done for us. Okay, and I realize this is a fairly simplistic overview, but it was a fairly simplistic question. It was just a general idea of what happens when you just get rid of these jobs. And again, I'm not suggesting that I know how many jobs exactly are out there that fit this description, and I'm not necessarily saying that all government jobs can be done by the private sector. All right, so in the comments below, do you have any feel for what is going to be coming in the coming year in terms of any kind of reduction in force for the government services, in terms of specifically job positions potentially being eliminated? What do you think the impact will be, and what kind of transition will there be if we lose these government jobs? Obviously, this will be kind of a hiccup for these people initially, but how long before we start seeing the benefits of it? Uh, you smash the like button. If the YouTube algorithms brought you here and you're not a regular subscriber, look at my other titles. A lot of things I get into, surely things you might find interesting. Subscribe. And if you know someone who might find this interesting, please share it with them. Thank you for spending time with me this evening. Hope to see you again in a future video.